We know that it is our fears and doubts and worries that are the biggest obstacle that's stopping us from creating the lives that we want to. They make us live in angst and worry and disbelief in ourselves, which then we make decisions out of that state, which keeps us living in a loop of undesirable circumstances. That being said, we know that training the mind is the easiest and fastest way to go about that and create the lives that we want. But what keeps these fears and doubts and worries in place? Why do they have such a strong grip over us? And how do we overcome that and free ourselves from them? That's what we're going to get into in this video. What's up? My name is Sabrina and welcome back to the channel. Here in the Better You space, we teach creatives, dreamers, and entrepreneurs how to train their minds to make their daydreams their real daily lives. If you're looking for a deeper transformation, feel free to check out one-on-one mentorship or our online signature program, Unleash Your Life. The links will be left in the description below, and let's get into it. Our minds and bodies work together, okay? This is how we were built. Our minds are the thoughts and our bodies are the emotions. Our emotions help to anchor our beliefs, which help to operate our automatic system of how we, on a subconscious level, operate throughout our day. And our beliefs anchor in our emotions. They're like a feeding loop. The more emotion you have behind something, the more you believe it. The more you believe something, the more emotion you have behind it. And this goes for positive or negative beliefs. It's the same formula. So what happens when something dramatic happens in your life and you have a strong emotion that comes up with that and your mind associates a meaning with it? For example, say that in the 4th grade, a friend talked badly about you behind your back and you found out about it. Understandably, you felt extremely hurt by this because you really trusted your friend. You didn't expect this to happen. And in that moment, without you even trying, your mind automatically makes this meaning of other people cannot be trusted. They will betray you. So you have this meaning that other people cannot be trusted, that they will betray you, paired with this emotion of betrayal, of sadness, of anger, of grief, of losing the friend. This creates this new belief. And I want you to imagine this as like an energetic knot in your mind, in your state of consciousness, in your neural connections. Now, years later, you might think back to that and you're like, oh, we were just kids. It's whatever. I'm not upset about it now. Even though you have this mentality about it now, that emotional knot, that was formed in your neural network, that it still exists. Because that strong emotion impressed itself into your neural pathways, into your neural network, and it was never fully worked through or processed. It was never rewired. You wired something in your brain, and most of us just go about our days and go about our lives, and we don't work to actively rewire certain negative things that were wired in. So you go about your life thinking that absolutely nothing is wrong. You start a business, you feel really hopeful about it. Everything is looking good. And then when it comes to hiring, you're like, oh no, I would rather do everything myself. No one can do it like me, and it's just better if I do everything. You start to burn yourself out. Your mentor is telling you, hey, it's really time for you to hire out. And you're like, fine. You have all this resistance towards it, but you're like, I'm going to force myself to do it anyway. You hire a social media manager. Say that's your first hire. And then next thing you know, they ghost you. You paid them, they're not doing the work, and then they're gone. And you're outraged. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe they would do this. I knew I couldn't trust them. I can't trust anyone to work for me. And in this example, okay, they unfortunately manifested this circumstance. And it was because that emotional knot from the 4th grade, that belief that others are going to betray you, that you can't trust others, it's because that was still there in their state of consciousness. And when it comes to this work specifically, of what I'm talking about specifically in this video, it's honestly so mind-blowing because we have so many of these emotional knots from all over our past, all over from our childhood, all over from certain things that family, friends may have said, your immediate family, things that you even saw on TV that your impressionable childlike mind took on and created all these meanings with and created all these limiting beliefs with. And you have no idea how many things are in your mind, how many emotional knots that are in your neural network that are limiting you, that you are not even aware of. Because then it just gets pushed back to your automated systems, to your subconscious mind. Therefore, you're not even conscious of it. And in order to create the results that we want in our lives, in order to create the success that we want in our lives, we need to start clearing these emotional knots. Yes, training our mind is in the affirming. Yes, training our mind is in the self-talk rampages. It is in the visualizations and the meditations and focusing on what we want. But sometimes there are beliefs that carry so much weight because of the charge of the emotion that we would have to affirm like crazy. We would have to affirm like a psychotic person to end up outweighing this belief. And it would actually be so much easier to, instead of forcing this new belief, because this other limiting belief has so much weight, it's actually so much easier to look at this limiting belief and to chop away at the emotion, to neutralize this knot. Because this whatever belief has more emotion behind it, has more charge behind it, is a belief that's going to rule your automatic behaviors and manifest the majority of the things to you. We have to clear the emotional knots. We have to neutralize the emotions that are harnessing these limiting beliefs in order to free ourselves from them. And there may be certain circumstances that you can automatically think back and you're like, oh yeah, I know this circumstance from when I was 7 years old. I already think about it and I feel triggered. I feel the upsetness of how it made me feel when I was 7. I know that that's one of the things that's holding me back, that I need to neutralize out and clear out for my state of consciousness, because it's not doing me any good to hold on to that baggage, right? We have these things that we remember. We also have many, many things that our minds kind of like delete from our conscious memory, but our subconscious mind still remembers them. This is why I have created these uniquely scripted brain training audios and meditations to kind of like to go really deep in the subconscious and uncover what is there, what's holding you back, and neutralize certain things from the past. Because your subconscious mind is so intelligent, it already knows what's there. And these audios are exclusive to my signature program, Unleash Your Life. So if you become a student or a member of UIL, you get access to these audios that help to go in and dissolve and neutralize these emotional knots. Now, if you are not a member of UIL and you still want to work on neutralizing these things, start with first the things that you do remember. Because I'm willing to bet there's going to be things where you can look back at your childhood and you're like, man, this was effed up. I didn't deserve this. This circumstance did me dirty. And it's those things that when you think about it from your past that you feel triggered and you feel like angsty or some kind of way about them. When you notice an emotion comes up, when you think about a circumstance, that is your sign that you need to work through that there is an emotional knot there. That's not making you feel good, and it's in your state of consciousness, and it's causing you, it's like weighing you down. Emotions are energy in motion, and lower vibrational emotions are more dense. They're literally more matter than energy. They literally are heavier. That's why we feel so much lighter when we work through these things. So make a list, write in your journal, make a list of what are the things that I know that I need to emotionally let go of? What are the things from my past or even from my current space? If there are certain things in your current reality that you feel like emotionally like upset about, work through the things from your current space first. Then when you feel neutral about what your roommate did or how your brother talked to you the other day, then you can focus on the things from your past. Then you can dive deeper into the deeper subconscious work of like, okay, what are the hidden things that I haven't even seen that are there? Okay, but start with what's in front of you first. Write in your journal, what are the different things that I feel emotionally charged from? And start with just one at a time. After making the list of the things that you know you need to emotionally and energetically clear out, because again, the higher the emotional charge, the stronger the limiting belief, the more it's going to be holding you back. So take a look at the list of the things and just start rating them 1 out of 10. How strong emotionally do I feel each of these circumstances of my friend doing me dirty 5 years ago, out of a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I'm so upset about it, I'm outraged from it, and then 1 being like, oh, it kind of bothers me, kind of not. Rate these things from your past. And then when you have these ratings of how much these certain things are really bothering you, you can see on paper like, okay, these are the things that I need to work through. These are the things that are holding me back. And I want you to start with the highest emotionally charged one on the list, or whatever is, if it's too much for you to handle at that moment, you want to start with something smaller, that's also fine. But start with one of the things on the list and just start journaling about it. Just through expression alone, you are working on dissolving that knot. It's to dissolve that knot is to also regulate the nervous system when you think about that thing. So using the 4 different tools to regulate your nervous system that I talk about in this video here, utilize those techniques when sitting into the energy of this circumstance, sitting into, oh man, my friend really did do me dirty and I'm feeling really upset about it. And, at that time I felt really hurt and I felt really betrayed, and I'm going to let myself cry. I'm going to let myself physically express the emotion, energy, because that's how that energy of the emotion is going to flow through and out of you. Let yourself cry, let yourself feel it, let yourself rage, punch your bed, punch your pillow. Don't punch other people. Do this in like a safe manner, controlled manner. And let yourself work through it. Let yourself process it. This is the mindset work that we really need to start doing, not only to create our success and our goals, but just for regular emotional wellness, just to feel good in ourselves. Because you would be so surprised at how many people struggle with chronic depression and chronic anxiety. And it's literally because they have so many of these knots and they're all weighing them down. And then they're like, oh, I feel this so weighed down and so heavy. And I'm like, babe, like I wish everybody would practice these things of just constantly processing their emotions and constantly processing and regulating their nervous system with these things, because you physically feel so much lighter when you do. That's like, I would say, the biggest feedback that I get from people who go through the program and they do the clearing work is they say, wow, I feel so much lighter. Right? The clearing work, I call this like the clearing work, and it's a whole section of UIL. It's a whole section of the program Unleash Your Life, my like self-paced program. And people literally say, like, I feel like I'm looking around me with like brand new eyes. I feel like everything looks lighter. And I can personally attest to that. If we keep having these situations happen in our lives that cause us to feel this strong emotion, but we keep bottling it inside, so many of us don't realize the neurological impact that it has on your mind. And it's not a pretty one, right? When you have these nasty emotional reactions and then you're like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to like not worry about it. I'm just going to suppress it down, right? It's not gone. It's still in there. And we need to work through it. We need to process it. And a lot of times in reference to creating success in your business or creative venture, you think that you're not able to manifest money because you don't have the right money mindset, or that you just need to have a different strategy, or you just need to plan things differently and rebrand yourself, right? We think it's these like logistic things, but really, when you were 6 years old, you were overlooked by your parents who worked themselves to death. They didn't have the time and space to give you the emotional needs that you needed. Therefore, your 6-year-old brain said, oh, I'm not worthy to be seen. I'm not worthy of being heard, right? This is an automatic thing that happens in our minds. Our minds automatically create these meanings to things, whether we're conscious of it or not. Therefore, this belief system is then knotted in your mind. You then are operating out of this system of, I'm not worthy of being heard, I'm not worthy of being seen, and you're not even aware of it. Therefore, when you try to create success in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, and you're like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things, why isn't it working out for me? It's because you have this hidden block here. And the only way to work through it is to continue to train your mind that you are worthy of being seen, that you are worthy of being heard. And you can do this through journaling. You can do this through self-talk rampages. You can do this through all the different tools that I've stated that you can do for free. Or if you're really serious about it, you can become a member of UIL and get really down and dirty with it and really make that 180 with your life. But this all being said, I really hope this video was helpful for you and understanding how the mind works and what inside of your state of conscious may still be holding you back and what you can do to break yourself free from that. So if you got to this point of the video, leave a brain emoji in the comment section below so I know who made it to this point. Give it a thumbs up to help out the channel, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified every time I post a new one, and I will see you in the next video.